Hello, I'm Nora, and today I want to raise the discussion of a topic that is, I'd say, quite interesting in our society. Is why we as women should not fear aging. I was thinking about this topic for the last couple of, not the decades yet, just couple of weeks, and it's such an obvious answer to this. Why I think we should not fear aging is because we're not our bodies. And I think it's linked most of the time to our reproduction system in a way that we are needed to the society until we are fertile, until we can give birth. But after the menopause, which I think comes 40 or even earlier to 50 years old, then they're like, nope, you're an old woman. But honestly, I think before it was even worse. I think by 25 or like 25 to 30, if you were not married and if you didn't have kids, you would already be considered a maid. I mean, just look at the movies of the 19th century. You'll see it a lot. But as we now live in a modern age and we can postpone the parenthood, the birth, it moves, I think, how I mentioned, until 40 or 50 years old. As you can see, for example, a lot of the TV shows like The Sex and the City, um, Desperate Housewives, maybe some other ones, where they have women in their, I think, how they supposed to say it, prime and peak when they're like 35, 40 something years old. And the TV shows with older women, like I think 60 or 70 years old, they are not as popular, and movies as well not as popular. I think they can see only women in one kind of way, or like very narrowed way, is to be either somebody's accessory, or it's always something related to the romantic relationships and sex. But when I think about it, we are not our bodies, we are not our reproductive system, and as we get older, but also lots of advantages come with it. And when I think, for example, about when I was, I don't know, like 23, 22 years old, just a couple years ago, I think that I had, for example, a more younger, beautiful body. And that might be true in some kind of way, but also I think not only about would I like to go back for my physical appearance, but would I like to come back to have the same brains that I used to have back then? Hell no. And this is the question I as well liked to ask my friends when we were discussing the topic of, I think it's natural to being afraid of getting old, but I think there is still more pressure on women in our society because we cannot just get old. We need to do it beautifully by society expectations. We need to do all these procedures, surgeries, injections, just to look youthful. But honestly, I don't think we can really, we cannot really fool the nature. It's like with a Kris Jenner, she made this plastic surgery at 70 years old, and she might look like 35, 40-year-old somebody on a face, but no wonder she hides her arms, because your whole body gets old. And that's completely fine. You know why? Because we're not our bodies only, we're also our skills, our experience, our emotions, feelings, relationships, so much more. So personally, I think nobody should always put 100% of the stakes, for the beauty, for the physical appearance. Of course, it matters in society, and if you don't look more or less presentable, maybe they don't even allow you in a store. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how it's not that all that matters. I also, when I talk about it, I remember I once saw on social media there was a woman. I don't know how old was she, but I think past her 60s maybe. Um, and she is a drum teacher, and it's so cool. And I never knew this woman. I cannot know her thoughts, but I think she just feels awesome. She knows that she's awesome, and she thinks that she's like, yes, that's me. And I think it's important as well to, maybe get an education, read books, learn skills. So, is once again, so your value won't be linked to your beauty. My cat is looking at me on the mirror like, you go, girl. You tell them. And it's crazy when it needs to be explained actually in our society that women's value is not linked to the way we look. Okay? It's not about that at all. But with social media, with the Hollywood and all those crazy beauty standards that we have, I think maybe even throughout our life. I'm not sure about how it was for women before, but even seeing these videos, what kind of, you know, body standard was in the 60s, what body standard was in the 70s. Like, are you crazy? Do I need to change my body like every 10 years just to fit some kind of a like trend or whatever? And if you think who can all benefit from that, it's a lot of actually sources, yeah. It's for sure the beauty industry. They're trying to get money from all of our insecurities. And it's fine to have the insecurities, right? But still, they're getting money from them, as well as maybe men can, benefit from us feeling not good about being older. But I even wrote down some of the advantages of getting older. And one of them, which I think is amazing because I notice it myself, as older I get, the more clear boundaries I have. And you may think that as you get older, you have less and less people to hang out with, less people to have relationships with. But you don't need to think about it as, oh no, I'm old and ugly and nobody wants to talk to me. No! I think it might be simply that, all those years that you lived, you've seen what kind of people are there, and maybe simply learned to set the boundaries. And when I always had, my boundaries, but when I started to set them even more clear, people disappear because people don't like it when you have boundaries because they cannot control you or pushing you something that you don't want to do, you know? And I think also one of the kind of obvious things that women get as they get older is confidence. I think it's also related to the boundaries that you won't allow people to treat you the same way in, for example, your 40s and 50s as you allow them to do it in your 20s or 30s even. And, also, as you get older, if you know you were on some career path, I think a lot of women they become financially independent or even successful when they are older. Maybe even like past their 30s or even 40s or even 50s. You know how they say some woman didn't become a designer till she was 6 years old. I don't remember the name of her. Yeah, I don't know lie, so I won't say it. So I want you to let me know is what are your reasons that your not subconscious, how would you say it, conscious self, what your reasonable part saying why you should not afraid to age. Because honestly, I wouldn't say I was kind of ever afraid to get older. I was maybe just afraid of death, that I wouldn't be able to do things that I always wanted to do, go places that I wanted to go. So when you think about it, it's almost never related to, oh, I wish I was more beautiful. Maybe it can be something, oh, I wish I had more, maybe romantic relationships, something like that. But you know, that's it's not always about the looks. It can be charisma, it can be your character. There are so many other things. Confidence, like, I think confidence, one alone, can move mountains. No, really. And it can be so attractive, more attractive than the looks. And I think we all know the pattern when most of the time men they pay more attention to their women's beauty than women pay attention to the men's beauty, and they pick up partners like that. Because I think there is still a thing that we might be considered as accessory to a man, like seriously, but not everybody lives in a, once again I will show it like a modern world. And I also like that now you can find a lot of older women, you know, being online, sharing their wisdom, their experience. And I think as well that people, men, might be afraid of older women because they will tell the truth to the younger women, how they should not be treated, how they should set high standards, and so on. And also, there is no such thing as an expiration to your femininity. You're always gonna be a woman. You know, you're not always supposed to do something to feel like a woman, because there were so many times in my life when I was like, I don't feel like a right woman. I don't dress so feminine like. I don't do this or that, what I considered conventionally, just normal women do. But the thing is that if you were born biologically a woman, you're a woman. If you have a uterus, I mean, maybe somebody don't, you're a woman. There is no treatment you should do to become more woman. There's no such thing as more woman. What is it even? Like, who created that? That's just ridiculous. And also, you know, watching this uh, older women, I would say mature women, in those blogs, they're just the girls like, you know, like we all are. And the thing is that once again, it's not even about the way you look, but maybe even about your appearance, you know, by the look that you pick, because you can dress you know, trendy, beautifully, beautifully, is there a word like that, beautiful, beautiful, at any age. So what we fear, that we won't be attractive. Attractive to who? I mean, I think one of the most important things that we would like ourselves, because we're gonna live with ourselves for the rest of our lives, and they all teach us to have relationships with other people, but not so many people teach us to have a healthy and good relationship with yourself. But it's, I think, one of the most important things that there can be. So this is basically my message. I hope it makes you feel better, and maybe you will reconsider fear and aging, because if you're not spending hours and hours in front of a mirror every day, which I doubt because we don't have that time in our world, but if you do, you should not put your value to your body only. There are so many other things there can be. Like, what is she doing? Come here. And I think all your things the same, right? Do you want to say something? No, he just wants to smell you. So, people say that not everybody gets to, live till a certain age to experience more seasons, more summers, more winters, more travels, and life can be tough. World is crazy, but as we already are here, we might as well find some enjoyment in getting older, because we get more time to do things that we love, spend more time with our family, friends, and just people that we love as well. There's so many things to do besides worrying how we look when we get older. You know? Who knows? Maybe I'm talking like that because I'm not old yet, but I think I will be crazy. I want to be crazy old lady. It's not like I want to kick, people with my stick in the public transport, but that would be fun because I would think, oh, she's just crazy, and maybe they want to hit back. But if they will, I will have my stick. So yeah, it's a non-ending topic, so I want to finish for now here, as I think I said a lot that I could say. And yeah, let me know in comments what do you think, because of course both genders can be afraid of aging, but I think it's still more pressure for us women, as yeah, I think it's still at our value linked to the way that we look, but it's not all that. So yeah, have a good day and let me know what you think. Bye. And also remember, I really like this one. The once I saw a comment where people say that sometimes the men say, "You're gonna end up alone at 40 years old with 20 cats." And she answered, "Don't scare me with a good life." And I couldn't agree more. Choco, come here. My other lady's being independent, and I respect her boundaries not to show her face for everybody to see.